Designing Grips for Knives and Tools, William Hovey Smith, 2017. I'm the author of Backyard Deer Hunting and also the owner of a new company, Hovey's Knives of China. And in this video, we discuss how to design grips for knives and other tools.
This is Hovey Smith. I am the founder and owner of a new company, Hovey's Knives of China. And among other things, we take found steels and we make knives out of them. For example, this is an old piece of tiller which I straightened, forged, and then ground to make a new to the world design of paring knife for the kitchen. More recently, we tried to make a knife out of this material, which is a steel fence post. Unfortunately, the knife material was not suitable. We ground it, but the blade failed. Now, we're working with horseshoe material. This is a horseshoe from 1864, 1865 in Sherman's March to the Sea through Georgia. This is a genuine relic. It was dug at a Union campsite and found, among other things, were the shells for the Spencer carbine used by units of Sherman's cavalry as well as issued to artillery. I did not want to dare destroy this without knowing I could do something useful with it, because its potential is somewhat limited. These holes here are in almost every horseshoe. They are preformed. They're square. This is for the old-fashioned square nails. So about the only part of the blade that's really solid and useful is, say, from about here to here. If you were to cut this, straighten it out, and then you can make a short bladed knife from both sides. That's a possibility, and that's what I was looking for. But I did not know the quality of the steel or if I could actually do it. I had another piece of old horseshoe found on my own farm here from about the same era. So I took it, heat treated it, and cut it, and tested it, and found that although it has a flaw, it has a crack here that's internal, that I did not put there. This is actually within the steel itself, probably caused by heat treatment in water, by too rapid a quenching, and caused this internal failure. Nothing I can do about it. But we're going ahead and making a farrier's tool. What this is a tool for cleaning out around a horse's hoof that a farrier uses before putting on another shoe, or a vet might use to flip a stone or whatever out of a horse's hoof, because giving him some trouble. In the previous video, I did something for my fellow knife makers in that I stated and said that stainless steel knives heat treated in these stainless steel foil bolts are identical in qualities even if you reuse the bolts, which the makers of this expensive material, of course, don't want you to do. They want you to make up new every time. But as long as these bolts are solid and keep the air out, they may be used again and again. And so I did that. To demonstrate my point, this is a untempered knife blank. Listen to it as it falls. Flat. Same, but tempered. There's a ring to this that's not in this. Same, but tempered. Again, you do get a better sound out of these blades. These have a sharp ring to them, whereas this is very flat indeed. So yes, we did get temper in both blades. Now this test is hardly diagnostic, but it does demonstrate that, yeah, the same thing happened to both of them. In typical knife and tool making, you have a standard style of handle that fits every product you make. If it's a tool, this sort of rounded teardrop shape, like this Miller's Fall tool that I use, yeah, it fits very well in the hand. It fits any hand. It's a little small, actually. I would like something a little bigger, but this is what you get, and they put it on every one of these carving tools they make, regardless of what size person or for whatever use it's going to be. If you buy this tool, you get this handle, period, no choice. Similarly, most knife makers use a standard design of handle, although the handle in dimensions changes in size from knife to knife. Like this is an Ontario knife blade, typical of these made starting back in the last century. It's a half-tang knife. It uses a inlet portion here, but the handle just grew in size as the blade did, but basically same size. The handle fit you or it didn't, and that was tough. I take a rather different approach with my Billy Joe Rubidoux knives. For example, this is my paring knife. It has a rounded bulbous handle here, a flat top, and a flat bottom. All unusual features in knives. The bulbous handle fits in the palm. You rest the hand here on this wide portion of the tang here. It's very strong. Then you can carve with it and put real force on something without putting pressure on your thumb here. And actually, with some blades it's so thin you almost cut your thumb here, particularly with a cheaply made blade that's just stamped out or something. And you can buy such a knife for, $2 or $3. You can't buy my knife for $2 or $3, right? But this is what we do. Similarly, this is a box opener of my design. It has a rather long handle. It fits here. It's made for the executive and the finer grades, of which this is not one. This is a prototype design just cobbled together to get the design. But what we did here was make a long grip that fits here, also flat top, also rest on the table with the blade clearing the table. Bread knife, extremely broad, unusually so. This is after a Polynesian design, and you actually grasp it like this, or like this, or like this, and so you can do anything you need to do with your knife. This is a very thin blade. It's made of an old scythe. It takes a very sharp edge. The chef's knife has a different use. It has a different handle. It has a different shape. This is perhaps the more conventional of my handles, and nonetheless it is unusually long. Most chef's knives don't have handles quite this long, and this allows a chef to do anything he needs to do with a chef's knife. This is our rib flipper. It's asymmetric. It's designed to be used by a right-handed person, and you put ribs on the grill and you flip them back and forth like this while holding the knife in the palm of your hand. Similarly, this grill tool has a rounded uniform handle, and it's made for scraping across a flat surface of a grill like this, gathering the material, cleaning your grill. And such a tool has been made for thousands of years by many cultures. This happens to be my rendition out of an old salvaged hull. The present work is for cleaning horses' hooves. Now, when you clean a horse's hoof, typically you are sitting down, or at least the farrier is, and hopefully you are too, by the way. and you have the hoof coming up like this, holding it with one hand while you clean out and gouge with the other. So a lot of the motion on this tool is going to be either like this, if you're trying to hook something out and pull it towards you, or like this, if you're trying to get and push away, or like this, if you're just scraping around the edge. So these are the motions that you want to allow this tool to do and have it fit in the hand very comfortably. Obviously, most of the work is going to be done with this portion of the blade toward the work, either this way or this way. You don't want much of this sharp obstruction sticking up. This down here doesn't matter so much. You do want a nice rounded contour here so it fits well in the palm of the hand. And of course these protruding pins are going to be ground flush, etc., as we finish the knife. You also want a place to rest your thumb, and that's the reason this scale is asymmetric and thicker on this side than this. So this allows you, even if you're a big guy, to have a place to rest your thumb so you can grasp it in the hand and still do a good job of pushing out. When we make these commercially, we're going to offer them in two sizes. We're going to offer them in a smaller size, about like this, for throwing in saddlebags or something like that to take on a trip with you. And we're going to give a longer handle version with a hole in it that you just hang up by the horse stall. So when you need it, it's right there. You just take it off the tongue, go around and do what you need to do with the horse and hang it back up. And you'll have it there in the barn where it needs to be and not have to go around looking in a toolbox for it. So that's how we're going to build these. So now we're going to get it in the cabinet grinder and start reducing some metal and wood and actually make a knife. When we put it in the cabinet, the first thing we're going to do is knock off all of these pins and start rounding this on the back. I'm not going to do all the pins at once because this adhesive is heat sensitive and it weakens with heat. So we'll do a pin, do a little grinding here on the back, let the knife cool, do another pin, do a little grinding elsewhere, and so on and so on and so on until we work the pins down. Now we also are going to reduce this down to where it's nearly to the top of the blade. Maybe not quite, but nearly, and make this a rounded profile all the way around to about here. So this we're going to start thinning a bit while still leaving enough wood on here to support the blade with these two pins. Then we're going to make this part of the handle more rounded and bulbous to fit in the palm of the hand. So it'll have a taper coming down here and also a flat place here for the thumb to rest. So that's the grinding we're going to do on this particular tool. We are now well along with our grip shaping. The top here has been rounded and relieved, and this is about as much as we'll take off between here and here because we want to leave this wood to hold this blade in these pins. Similarly, these sides here on this particular knife, because we don't have very much steel in it actually, just about to here, we have to leave this wood around to support it. Now this is where we're going to put the thumb pressure point. So you can put your thumb right here and that'll give you full pressure if you really have to gouge and push on here. Then we're going to continue this rounding in the back so it'll fit well in the palm of the hand. Now I have, for a guy, about a medium-sized hand. If a guy had a larger hand, he'd want the grip out this much further, and that would be no problem since I do these one at a time on a custom basis exactly for the person who orders them. Now also on the production knives, the tang will not have this problem because the tang is going to go all the way back through the scales. So it will be very well supported by these pins all the way back through. So that problem will be solved with the new knife. Otherwise, we're about done. I'm going to smooth this out a little bit. I'm going to use a grinding stone to take the last of this adhesive off that you see to keep it from gumming up my sanding strips. Because of the soft nature of this wood, I'm using a finer grit than I usually would to start off with. I believe it'll cut this fast enough to do what you need to do. We now have a tool designed the way a tool should be designed. One that actually fits the hand of the user. Right back in the palm right here. It's a nice good thumb rest and support right here so maximum pressure can be applied. It reverses very nicely in the hand. It feels good if you turn it this way and have to hook and pull, or if you have to scrape this way. It feels good in all orientations, and it looks like no handle ever. No. Well, why not, guys? Just because a certain tool has been made a certain way for centuries and blah, 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 and has historical antecedents and so on and so on and so on, there's no good reason for continuing its design or not making a new design that fits better and works better, even though it is a very ancient tool indeed. We're now getting around to just a little hand sanding. In this case, I'm using steel wool, just to burnish up the surface a little bit. I've got a few small little areas I need to put a little bit of filler material in. I can see one right here, for example. But this is going to get done. And we'll put a coat of polyurethane on it. Although you could use many other types of finishes. This is walnut after all. And you can put anything on it that you like. Use an oil finish. But for a working tool, polyurethane works pretty well. Waterproof, resistant, stain resistant, blah, 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 blah. And is appropriate for the work. We are very nearly done with our little Farrier's tool here. I've sanded it, and I'm going to do a little steel wooling, and then we're going to paint up with some finish, stain, polyurethane, all in one, yeah, and stick it in the styrofoam block to allow it to dry. And I really like how it turned out. You'll see a close-up when I'm done, but it's turned out to be a very cute little piece with some real character and some very desirable functional characteristics. When you're flicking away like this, oh, it feels very good in the hand. It also works very well this way if you're going to pull, or even this way if you've got to scrape around the edge. So, yes, this tool will work really, really well. Now, there is a near relative of this called a pointer's tool. And it has nothing to do with pointing dogs. What it has to do With people who are doing restoration in old houses in the South that predate the Civil War, the mortar between brick is often very, very soft and may deteriorate. And you need a tool to go in between the bricks about half an inch and scrape out the old mortar so you can put new mortar in those holes and re-cement and seal and waterproof those joints. And that's what the point tool is for. And we're going to make that tool too, but we're going to make it a bit differently. We're going to make it with a longer blade, about like this, a thicker blade, and one with more like an actual chisel point on it. Now, unfortunately, the sand is very, very abrasive. So this will wear down any steel. I mean, there's no steel that will withstand constant exposure to grit and sand. The hardness differential is just too great. If you have if you're a homeowner and you just have a relatively few brick to do, yeah, one tool will last you. If you're doing this for a whole building, you're going to need a bunch of these, or at least replaceable blades. And what we're going to do with that particular design is design them so we can replace the blades. So in fact, the grips, once done, will be finished. But if you send the dulled ones or missing or just flake, straight, worn out ones back to us, yeah, for a fee, of course, we will put you new blades back in them at far less cost than you having to buy the new knife itself all done. Because a lot of the work is done, as you have seen, in fashioning the grips. So there is a savings in doing that. So now, we're going to put some paint on this thing. Yep. Some official finish here. And if you're wondering what the strange looking block of styrofoam is, it's something that I have received, and we're going to use it just to stick the point of this blade in it. I'm being generous so far as the coating goes. Especially put some down to run through this hole that we have drilled. Make sure that gets coated all the way through. Now when this dries, we will steel it and polish it a little bit more and give it a coat of wax. And so that'll hold this very well. Now we'll fix it. And there we go, and I didn't have to touch the handle with the fingers. But now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe, goodbye, God bless, and see you next time.
That rusted piece of metal is what we made the Farrier's pick from. Here is a logo of our new company, Hovey's Knives of China, with some of our blades, and here are some more of them. Now, I also talk about knives in all of my outdoor books, including backyard deer hunting, extreme muzzleloading, crossbow hunting, and practical bow fishing. The price of our fitted Farrier's pick is $200 and $250 for the brick pointers tool, where we use special steels. For more information on Hovey's Knives of China and the Billy Joe Rubidoux line, go to the website below. For more information on my books, blogs, and more than 600 videos, you can go to my website, www.hoveysmith.com. Good hunting and good eating from the outdoors. Goodbye, and God bless.